All right. I guess we should probably talk very briefly about LEC beyond the format. You have any thoughts on the G2 stomp of Excel?
This is why, unfortunately, look, for people like Odoam, I think it's cool he made the final and like he fucking overcame all the bullshit with Koi and he had that slam dunk on him with the banter where he eliminated them for that's all cool.
That was fun.
But if I had to choose, if I could go back and replay that match, I need Fnatic to win that match, mate. Like, Fnatic versus G2 could have been interesting. Like, XL was so lackluster in this final, mate. It was just a fit game. That's why, by the way, another reason I also hate when underdogs make deep runs. Because if you are XL, you actually can, after the year you've had, go, oh, well, second place is good. I don't ever want that to be the fucking takeaway from a final, Monte. The takeaway from a final, ideally, is you're both contenders, so you both know if you lose, I could have won this one. Like, mate, I let this one get away. Like, that's the vibe I want after a final, whereas, like, everyone knew they were going to lose this final. It wasn't even vaguely as competitive as the upper bracket final. And then the way they lost, this was just a shit final, mate. Like, G2 were just made to look like 5 times better than them or something. It was ridiculous. And the one upside is this. The one upside, and C9 hasn't maintained this, they'll say it's only G2 in Europe, is at least their team actually does look levels ahead of the rest of the competition. We're not even talking just players. The players are all peaking as well for G2, but like the way they play the meta, the champions and lanes they can play, mate, the way they've run bot lane this year in Europe, like they're just way better than everyone else at their understanding of the game, it seems like. And we pointed this out on the last one, but like MikyX is the linchpin player of that team. Look at what he's done just champion and meta-wise this year, Monte. He's played it all. He's gone from enchanters through to like, he was the best Braum. He's already a god on Pike and Thresh and all that shit. Mate, the guy just runs the league. And remember, he wasn't even supposed to be on G2. They kicked him out 2 years ago.
And Heimerdinger, earlier this year.
As well. He even played a fucking Jarvan game or something, didn't he? Like, wasn't there some ridiculous shit like that?
I think MikyX, as I tweeted, I think he is absolutely deserving of LEC MVP of the entire year. I think nobody has been as consistently good as MikyX. His teammates have had various ups and downs. Like Caps and Broken Blade have both been kind of garbage at times, but they've also been very good at other times. And maybe MikyX hasn't hit the peaks that they have, but he's been amazing on this team. And while we've seen a lot of churn amongst the other teams in this league, G2 has consistently made the playoffs in the various splits. So, yeah, I think there is no player more deserving of getting a year-long MVP award, which I don't even know if they offer, by the way. I'm not even sure they're going to...
Seems like they just got rid of all that shit, mate. It's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think he 100% deserves LEC MVP of the year. Would he have gotten... I think he would have gotten... Well, he should have gotten MVP of spring. He was robbed. Or of winter, rather. He should have gotten MVP of winter. So he should have also gotten that award. But as for the whole year, I don't think that anybody's been as rock solid and good as he has been.
Because I actually think it's sad. Like, for example, if people don't know it, in the LPL, they didn't even give like season MVPs till something insane like season 7 or 8 or something mad like that. Like, I might even do a piece of content one day and go back and give like my version of the MVP or whatever. That sucks for history, dude. Like, look, we can certainly argue in some sports they give the wrong person the MVP, but I've always told you, I actually think for team sports, it is so important to have both MVP of regular season, and it has to be regular season so that you can't get fucked by your team being terrible. And then the other thing is you have to have like all pro. That's to always be that for every year. Because that is your foundational first place you go to in history if you didn't watch that era to look at it. Like, I was even doing it on our show. If people didn't see the one where I do a basketball show now with Maui Snake on the LFN Sports channel, like one of the points I make, for example, where it's like a controversial pick, like, oh, Karl Malone's your power forward. Like, you do know he was like a 10-time all NBA first team player. 10 times. Like, you do know, like, I think the most in history ever, Monty's like 13 or something. Like, that's unbelievable. That essentially means you can say he's bad, but that means his peer group said he was the best for a decade. Like shit like that matters. Like, that is where you start these discussions. So I think it sucks that if we go back, someone would actually have to watch this show to know how good MikyX was. They wouldn't be able to say, there's nothing in the league would show them. There's no accomplishment to tell you that. And the reason it also sucks as well, in my opinion, is because I'll give you a great example. Like, at least MikyX won the championship. He's on G2. The guy who's going to be absolutely wrecked by this year is Larson from Koi. He might actually have been the best mid laner of LEC, but because Koi was so whack, no one will ever remember that dude. People will think this is the worst year of his career. Because remember, all the other years he was always first place in the split
Sure.
and the final, top 3 every time. So like you won't know that in history. You had to actually go and watch the games or check in Reddit threads or something like. There's no marker to say no, you were that good. And the reason that sucks is if people don't know, I'll give you a sports example. The best sports example ever is probably Barry Sanders, the running back, because his team.
Sure.
I think he made the playoffs like twice or something, Monte, because his teams were
the
garbage.
Lions were terrible.
Yeah, but if you ever go and watch, like this guy is unbelievably good at fucking running back.
Yeah.
He's like one of the best players ever and so unique. But if you didn't have things like all first team and all pro, you would never know that. Like if you just looked at his team, because to bring it all the way back, if you did the Bozo nephew Reddit take they do on those sports shows like ESPN, like, but look, yeah, they can whatever rating in the playoffs. Like he doesn't, you idiot. He plays one position in a super complicated game that can't win the game by itself. So I think actually it's really sad that they've abandoned this, because I actually love that angle. Like I like to be able to count the MVPs and the all pro placings and stuff. And I think actually, if you're MikyX, like, dude, you were the guy who's going to be remembered, sadly, in history as the least important member of the super team. But then years later, you're the reason G2 wins again. By the way, there's another reason why it sucks. Every dickhead will think, like, I've already seen the tweets, Monty. They're all bigging up Caps. This has to be one of the most lackluster Caps years ever, you fucking idiots. Like, MikyX is the fucking player I'm bigging up. He was unbelievable. Like, he basically was almost the best player every split in the whole league. That's fucking fire. And also, I tell you should go ask, if you want to know how good MikyX is, go ask fucking Hans Sama. Mate, he was a bum last year. He looked fucking amazing with MikyX this year. There's night and day how good he is.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's really deserved. So I hope that they actually do have a year-long All-Pro and a year-long MVP. But they probably won't. We'll see after it'll take till the season finals for that to happen. That'll be something we can do on our show after the season finals are over.
Put it this way, if we ever actually do get the company funded, this is the sort of thing, I have talked about this many times in the past privately as well. I actually do want to do things like our own Hall of Fame or give away awards. And the thing is, my idea, this is why we need the funding though, is I actually want it to be where it's not just like a thing on the internet that you care about. I want it to be like you get a little ring or a little cool badge.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
You know that, Monty. I love that shit from StarCraft. I think it's so stupid they got rid of it. You know when you would win the OSL, they would give you the little badge.
You get the golden mouse.
And you could have a bunch, yeah, but you put it on your uniform. So it meant every time you played on stage, you could see that like Nada had 6 fucking badges. Like that is fire. Like imagine think of any esports game now. Look, I'm going to make a joke one, but imagine if Beryl just had 2 worlds pins and he was walking like, what up, bitch? Gangster. Two of these. Like, that'd be shit, wouldn't it? Meanwhile, fucking Kerry is just crying, I haven't got any of those. Like, yeah, whatever. I run this game. I am Beryl. Hear me roar.
Okay.
I can't handle as well, because the thing about Beryl is he's such an unassuming character. If you see what he looks like, he just looks like someone's cousin that's like, oh, is he playing with us? No, 2-time world champion, motherfucker. 3 worlds in a row. I can't handle it.
3 world finals. It's so funny.
I know. I can't do it.
It's all right. Surely the run stops here, Thorin. Surely the run stops here.
Basically, this is how you know how sick Khan is. Khan's the only person that could stop Beryl from winning worlds.
I mean, if DRX wins their next 2 games, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that they go to the LCK playoffs. I'm just saying the Beryl danger is not yet over, Thorin. Okay. We have Beryl being in his 4th consecutive world finals. Although that would be even more outrageous than DRX's run last year for sure.
Because it would also just be the most empty calories stat of all time if he made like 4 world finals in a row.
Imagine
be like, he must be one of the best players ever. It's like, not really. He just really wasn't. I'm sorry.
Imagine if Krakow wins world this year, dude. I don't know if I can handle that. I thought POC winning was bad enough.
The other thing I can't handle as well, because obviously it happened this year, everyone remembers earlier, like LS kept going on about it, is because Beryl has won worlds twice. It's just the worst example ever to like young players when he just never completes all those items. He was buying like 1 billion pink wards. Like, why are you actually playing like objectively bad League of Legends as the world champion, for fuck's sake? Like, we're supposed to be teaching them kids the proper way to live.
He just knows which champions to pick and how to do rotations. He doesn't actually know what to buy.
The joke is, you obviously coached him back in the day. Just all he knows is how to do rotations. Which champion to pick? Just pick Sivir.
Beryl's my guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Beryl's my guy. Pick Sivir and rotate. Yeah, hilarious. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say about the LEC right now. We just got to wait for the next phase of it. The finals were really underwhelming because G2 decided to shockingly take Kai'Sa instead of just trying to counterpick everything every game for no reason. Just take the power picks as they're up. Well, guess what? They did that. They didn't have a bad day. Dylan Falco said after their last series against XL that he was really disappointed in how they performed. But I was also disappointed in how they drafted because they were being too cute. Just take the fucking power picks. See what happens when you get Kai'Sa 3 games in a row on this patch. See what you can do when you can flip-flop it between AD carry and mid lane.
That's the other thing I found really underwhelming about LEC in summer is, mate, the other reason G2 looks like levels ahead of everyone. Most of the other teams, even the contenders, each have 2 or 3 players who have incredibly limited champion pools. Like, you even look at Fnatic's a great example as well. Dude, if Fnatic get their picks, they can win a bunch of games. If they don't, they're just fucking like half as good. It's ridiculous how hard they drop off. Like, same with XL. This is why XL could never have actually won the BO5 final. Look at what they would have to play to even take things away in the draft. They don't have any of those champions. Like, they don't have the mid lane and the fucking ADC champions to take away from Hansama and Caps, etc. So a lot of the other teams also just looked very flawed at the end of the split to me. It's not just that they were losing games. Like, the actual like quality of League of Legends wasn't as high. No.
And I think, you know, some of the other issues are just weird to me. Clearly XL has more data than I do, right? But remember, move my desk, sorry. Remember when we saw Peach pop off on Lee Sin? Remember he had that amazing early game on Lee Sin, looked pretty good mechanically, was making some really interesting dives, got a huge lead. We only got to see 1 game of Peach on Lee Sin. It's not that Lee Sin is out of the meta at all, but instead, what do I have to watch, Thorin? I have to watch Peach playing Sejuani or Maokai and just fucking up every early game, dying stupidly. So I got to see Peach as a player play some really active, aggressive, kill-heavy, like 1 kill-heavy Lee Sin game, and I just never get to see it again. Instead, he's played 9 games of Maokai, 8 games of Sejuani, and the next one is 2 games of Viego. That's his next biggest pick, right? So, but I know what happens when he plays Maokai and Sejuani. Yeah, he's okay in the late game team fights at pressing R with those champions, but he dies in the early game. He accrues massive losses for his team. He takes stupid fights. Why do I never get to see the Lee Sin game again? It's weird.
They still pretend they have the global meta and everyone can play everything. They're all fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Heart of the cards and all that shit.
I mean, obviously they have scrim data, right, that I don't have, and surely that is what is guiding their decision. All I know is that the one time I got to see the Lee Sin, he was good. And if you are down 0-2 if you're down 0-2 in this series, right, and you want to do something, just anything, what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to play Sejuani into Kha'Zix? Okay, well, that sounds like a lot of fun for the jungler who likes to die alone in the early game. Like, come on, man. Do something. Do something different.
Oh, by the way, there's a real black pill for everyone.
I mean, at least it was bad, that game. But.
There's a real world where Peach is going to be representing LEC at Worlds. There's a world where this is the teams we get. So G2's going, cool. Maybe, let's say, fuck it, maybe Fnatic makes it. Then they might have like XL and Mad Lions. That might be the other 2. So fuck, you know.
That fourth place match in NA is
There's a world where the 4th place match is like evil geniuses versus, like you say, fucking Mad Lions.
BDS.
Like, BDS could be any of these teams. Fucking hell, that sounds dire. So, Doppler against Adam, who gets to go to the World Championship. Meanwhile, at home, you just have some fucking person like we're saying, like fucking Uzi I, or it could even be like, you know, fucking Zhao Hu. Like, can I go to Worlds? No, shut up, Zhao Hu. Shut up, Zhao. We're trying to determine who gets to go out of Doppler and Adam. Okay, like, fuck you. Fuck
yeah,
you.
Faker, you don't get to go to Worlds. Adam gets to go. Great system, Riot. Cool, very cool. Too funny.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.